So welcome back to my channel. This is Dom, and this week we're going to take these and turn it into this. So I don't know about you folks, but I wander around and I think I see all this terrain, wonderful terrain that people produce. I see wonderful stuff that people create out of virtually nothing, and it sometimes gets me fired up about what I can make for the gaming table, particularly now while I've got a bit more time, since I'm not actually gaming, and you can only do so much painting. I thought, well, let's have a go at making some terrain. It's not something I do very often, have done a few times in the past, and when I was out on some of my isolation walks, shall we say, I picked up a number of sticks. Tried to pick up just some these ones are the wonky ones that are left, but I picked up a whole bunch of dead straight sticks, like these, and I thought, well, they'd make some really good barriers, you know, turn them into some kind of barrier wall type arrangement. So I've left them to dry for a good, probably about 3 weeks. They've stayed in the window just to dry out completely. They were all dead sticks anyway. But I've just allowed them to completely dry, and then I've just been spending some time turning them into this sort of barrier effect, which I think is quite effective. I haven't got a Second World War figure, but here's a couple of my bowmen that I'm in the process of painting at the moment, and you can see they sit behind there quite nicely. So I thought, right, let's show you how I did this, because somebody else might want to do the same thing. So obviously point of start is some good old sticks, and as I say, it's really important that you try first of all to pick up the sticks that are not like this one with lots of nodules, more like this one, which have much more solid core. If you can get them as straight as you possibly can, it makes your job a lot easier later on. And then make sure that they dry out thoroughly. You do not want to be using green sticks for this, because pretty soon they'll turn in all mouldy. So let them dry out thoroughly. So I say, I think I left these for about 3 weeks in the sun, just to make sure they were completely dry. So that's the first stage. So I cut out of a bit of spare wood I had in the garage some little struts like this. They're just going to be the base for the sticks. I just use whatever I happen to have. It's quite thick, this wood, probably thicker than the ideal, but it just does say what I happen to have around. And certainly you want to make sure it's something that's not going to warp easily. Then you need to make sure you get 2 pieces of stick and cut them to just the right length that they'll sit. Just do that there. There we go. That they'll sit on the wood in the right way. And just fiddle around with them, make sure they, you know, they kind of sit nicely like that. So that's how I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to get my super glue. Now I was using Gorilla Glue, but I've run out now. So I'm just going to use regular Loctite Precision Max Glue. It just needs to be strong. And I'm just going to slop the glue on here as much as I possibly can. And position it, oops, without sticking it to my hand, ideally. Onto the base. Didn't do that very well, did I? There we go. So what I've also found with this process, treat yourself to some fixer accelerator for super glue. Get some accelerator because this stuff is a godsend. Just spray it on. There you go. Let's put a little bit more on that side just in case. And that now has all instantly set. That's what it says on the tin. It accelerates the setting of the super glue, which is so much easier rather than holding it in place and wondering why it was sticking to your fingers all the time. So just give that a minute or two. The only thing to worry about that stuff is quite smelly. So this one there is going to sit on that side there. So again, I'm going to run plenty of it down here. There we go. Stick it on top. Again, accelerant. There we go. So there we have it. That's the start of our log wall, and that's pretty well set now already, just like that. So the next thing I do with these things, here's another one, just to give it plenty of time to make sure it is totally dry. Here's another one I've been working on. This one I've used 3 logs, doesn't really matter, but you can do what you like with it. I've also just used some green paint on the edge around here, and now I'm going to take some rocks. These are just stones I found in the garden, and I'm going to get my trusty super glue out. I'm just going to put a few of these around the base, just to add a bit of variety, really. Let's go and get some more of these out of the garden. Again, nothing special, just get them out of the garden, but give them a clean, give them a wash, let them dry, make sure they're properly dried. Put it on this end, I think. There we go. I'll probably do us. Do as much or as little as you like, whatever you think catches your eye, you think, you know, that'll do the job. Again, if you're in a rush, use the accelerator. Oops. Just to make sure it sticks. Unlike that one that just fell off. And there you go. Job's a good one. So now we've got our bases, another one done already. So we've got some rocks put in place. We've got the sticks nice and firmly attached. So we're going to put some flocking on them. So this is just Luke's APS. I've showed this many times on the show. I've shown this many times on my channel. Swear by this for my figure basing, but it also works for this. So I've just got some standard PVA glue here. I'm going to use another one because rather than using the one I've just used, because I don't want to get anything stuck on. These are old brushes, but I don't really want to get them all covered in glue, super glue. So I'm just going to slap the glue, making sure I get right underneath the logs. There we go, that's all that done. I'm just gonna cover our glue. There we go. I've pretty much covered everything there. And leave that to dry for a little bit. So here's one I made earlier, and what I've also done with this is I've gone over and added in some different flock. So I have here not different flock. This is another basing material, another Luke's APS. This is I think it's City Rubble or something like that, and I've just used some of that on there as well, just to give it a little bit of variety. And you can see the formation is pretty good. I think you can still see a bit of a shine where the glue's come through, but we'll deal with that in a bit. So we now have our barrier with some nice boulders built into it, the wood flock, the flocks down the bottom underneath the wood, and a little bit of variety in different types of basing material. Just to finish it off, so I have here some sort of grass, railway grass. I think this is field grass it's called. It's from the Hornby Scale Scenics range. Don't know where I got this from, some model shop sometime, and it's just, you can see it's sort of twiggy grass. So what I've done is just take out a handful of it there, a little fingerful actually. I'm just going to give that top bit a little bit of a haircut. I'm just going to chop off so about 1.5 centimeters there, oops, or so. And I'm going to do another group of about the same amount over here. There we go. And the third one will be the one I'm still holding. There we go. Oops, made a bit of a mess of that, but don't worry about that. So I'm going to just get a nice generous dab of my PVA glue. I'm going to stick it on the base there. And I'm going to stick the grass to it there, like that. Need to give it a little bit of haircut once it's dried. Just make sure you've got the sort of position you want it to be in. A little bit, I'm just going to chop off a little bit there. There we go. That's that one. I'm going to put another bunch on the other side, I think. There's a bit more room on the other side, so we'll put a big bunch there. Now personally I don't mind if it falls over a little bit. I don't want it to fall over too much. I might just put a little bit more glue at the back there. Just so it stays upright, which is what I want. There. This one doesn't look too bad. That one's not too bad either. There we go. So there we go. We've got a nice bit of static amongst the rocks. A bit of longer grass in amongst it. So that's pretty much done. And now all I need to do from there, which is what I've done with this one already, is take it out and give it a good spray with the spray varnish. I use a Army Painter matte varnish. You can see on this one I've put a bit of shale in amongst the rocks just to break it up a bit there, but you can see also it's lost all the glue marks that there were on there, and it's also has the effect of locking the flock or the basing material and the rocks and the grass in place very nicely. So that sort of varnish, that spray varnish, is also like a glue. And there we go. Doesn't take long, and I've done now probably about 6 or 8 of these lengths of walls that will be useful for my some of my gaming whenever we get back to gaming. I just thought you'd like to see that. And there you go. That's a whole load of barriers finished, all varnished. Just used the spray varnish to finish them off, and the sticks that I picked up on the floor, and a few stones that I picked up out of the garden, a bit of the flock I had, basing material I had, and some old bits of wood that were in the garage, some tufts, And there you go. I think it's alright. Works quite effectively. It'll look quite reasonable on the table. I think the only thing I might have done differently in future is just to make them a little bit shorter, but it's the combination between usefulness and reality, right? Having them this length is going to be very useful. I can just build up roads, you'll have them lining the roads quite easily. Just takes more distance. So I think I'm quite happy with how they've come out. They were dead simple, and I might do a little bit more terrain just to break up the monotony of painting. Hope you found it useful and interesting. If you did, please give it a like. Let me know in the comments what you've been, if you built any terrain. It's not something I do very often, as you can probably tell from this advert, but it's kind of fun just to break it up, and nice to do something a little bit different. But let me know in the comments down below. Hope you're all staying safe, enjoying all the videos that people are putting together. And if you haven't already done so, click that subscribe button and hit the notification so you know when I've posted new content. And I'll see you again soon. This is Dom, signing out.